same place, and it's not that I don't think he has to answer to what he's done, but I feel that this is someone who's been failed. I see so much anger towards women, and that frustrates me. It makes me so angry that, you know, a young man can feel so entitled, so entitled to women's affection and attention. And now there's, you know, a queue of equally angry professional men in police uniforms or in, you know, lawyers' offices willing to bring down the full force of the law on him. And what is going to come of this? He's going to go to prison. Then what?
We have attempted to reach Finn Cotton for comment, but haven't heard back. In November 2024, he was sentenced to 7 years behind bars. As for Will, he's been changed by the cases too, but in a different way. He desperately wanted someone to go after what he believes is the root of the problem. A website where so many perpetrators he was helping to catch was still posting.
At the top of the website on the left-hand side, there is a cartoon picture of a girl who looks underage. There is a scroll bar that scrolls from sort of right to left, and it shows the most recently updated topics. I think when you see that scroll bar, that's when you get an understanding of just how vile the website is and just the type of horrible things that get put on it. And that is anything from the harassment that we've just talked about through to pictures of children, pictures of social media details, addresses.
And he noticed something else all over this website. Deepfakes. Images that made people look like they were naked or in sexual positions. Some images were generated to make it look like the women had been abused, covered in bruises. At first, Will thought of it as just a new mechanism of harassment.
That's kind of how I viewed it. Probably a little bit naive at that point, just not understanding that it's the start of a massive problem.
A massive problem that would consume the next 2 years of Will Wallace's life and bring him together with an unlikely international coalition to take aim at the site itself. At the same time, halfway across the world, law enforcement officials in Levittown, New York, were also investigating the same website. But back then, in New York, there was no guidebook, no law that made posting deepfake pornography a crime.
It is a crime that you look at and you say, this is awful, this should be illegal, but what is this? What is this crime?
It was up to them to figure that out. And fast. This series is reported and hosted by Margie Murphy and me, Olivia Carville. Produced by Kaleidoscope. Led by Julia Nutter. Edited by Neda Tului Simnani. Producing by Dara Look Potts. Executive produced by Kate Osborne. Original composition and mixing by Steve Bone. Our Bloomberg editors are Caitlin Kenny and Jeff Grocott. Additional reporting by Samantha Stewart. Sage Bauman is Bloomberg's executive producer and head of podcasting. Kristen Powers is our senior executive editor. From iHeart, our executive producers are Tyler Klang and Nikki Etor. Levittown is a production of Bloomberg, Kaleidoscope, and iHeart Podcasts. If you liked this show, give us a follow and tell your friends.
And I
ITA, we've got Easter specials that are special to you. Like the Country Chef Bakery Co. Pavlova, 500 gram, $4.99 each. ITA, you can't beat local at Easter. Offer ends Monday, April 21.
In a world of economic uncertainty and workplace transformation, learn to lead by example from visionary C-suite executives like Shannon Schuyler of PwC and Will Pearson of iHeartMedia.
The good teacher explains, the great teacher inspires.
Don't always leave your team to do the work. That's been the most important part of how to lead by example.
Listen to Leading by Example, Executives Making an Impact on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
How could a beautiful young first grade teacher be stabbed 20 times, including in the back, allegedly die of suicide? Yes, that was the medical examiner's official ruling. After a closed-door meeting, he first named it a homicide. Why? What happened to Ellen Greenberg? A huge American miscarriage of justice. For an in-depth look at the facts, see what happened to Ellen on Amazon. All proceeds to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
ITA, we've got Easter specials that are special to you. Like Streets Ice Cream Family Value 20-pack or Golden Gaytime Ice Cream 16-pack, $15 each. Hot buy. ITA, you can't beat local at Easter. Offer ends Monday, April 21.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next two combined. Learn how podcasting can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
In a world of economic uncertainty and workplace transformation, learn to lead by example from visionary C-suite executives like Shannon Schuyler of PwC and Will Pearson of iHeartMedia.
The good teacher explains, the great teacher inspires.
Don't always leave your team to do the work. That's been the most important part of how to lead by example.
Listen to Leading by Example, Executives Making an Impact on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
A quick note. This is episode 4 of a 6-part series. If you haven't heard the prior episodes, we recommend going back and starting there. It should also be noted that this series explores sexualized imagery involving minors and violence. Please take care when listening. Detective Timothy Ingram in New York was en route to make an arrest. He'd been working the Levittown deepfake case for 8 months, ever since a number of young women first called the police that New Year's Eve. He had had enough. It was 5 o'clock in the evening when Tim and his partner drove through a quiet Levittown neighborhood and stopped in front of a small, light blue, Cape Cod-style house.
It looked like a regular house. The grass was cut,
The house had a backyard that shared a fence with an elementary school.
It was just an everyday house where you wouldn't expect this to be going on.
That morning, yet another young woman had walked into a local precinct to tell the police a now familiar story. One that matched the stories of so many others. This time, though, the detectives had already received some key evidence. Evidence that showed the person behind the posts was a guy many of the women knew. Someone they went to high school with. Patrick Carey.
And at that point, my partner and I at the time kind of looked at each other and, this has to end now. Whether we go to his house and he clams up and doesn't say anything, or whether he admits to it, he was coming with us either way. So when we got there, we knocked on the door. Patrick Carey answered the door. Patrick Carey answered the door. From what I recall, I think he was shirtless when he answered the door. We asked him to come outside after we identified ourselves as detectives. So he turned around and he told his mom that we were there, and his mother came outside also. He sat down on the front steps of the house in front of the front door, and his mom stood next to him. And we asked him if he knew why we were there. He said no. And we said, okay, we want to talk to you about some things that are going on the internet. And I said, I'm going to read this to you now. I wanted him to hear out loud the things he was writing. Him to